Hello, everybody. Hey, I'm so excited to be here. This is Ellery Houston from SOAR again, and we're back with another edition of our Brunch Bites. We are so excited. Today is probably one of the most important Brunch Bites, or for me, I'm so excited about it because we get to spend time with people who do the work that we need them to do. And we're grateful and we're honored for their sacrifice and for their knowledge. And so I'm asking everyone, if you can, to share. I know that a lot of our viewers watch in replay, but if you can, jump on, share. Now, don't be ghosting us and watching without popping in the chat. We want you to come up, let us see your face. We are here and we are with some awesome, amazing guests. But before I jump into our topic for today, I want to just remind you about SOAR Again. SOAR Again is a nonprofit organization, and the SOAR stands for Starting Over Access Restored. And we are I don't want to say a situation. We are an operation where we provide empowerment session, mentoring, coaching, and SOAR stands for Starting Over Access Restored. And if you would like to join with us, be a participant in the different programs that we have, you can either grab that QR code or you can go to our website, which is SOARAGAINNFP.com. I'm actually going to put that on the screen for you so that you can see our information. Again, is SOARAGAINNFP.com. And one of the things that we want to do with SOAR is not just get people hyped and emotional and all of that kind of stuff. We do all types of things. We do ministry, we do mentorship, we do give backs. But I think that the greatest thing that we can do is to provide information to those that will hear it and allow them to take that information and grow from it. Allow them to take that information. We want to debunk, just get rid of all types of myths. And so we have been talking to you guys. We did one on real estate. We did a brunch bite on parenting. Oh my God, that parenting one was funny. Parenting during the pandemic, about people who had younger children that they had to relearn how to live because they were trying to work and school their kids and feed them and cuddle them and love them and never leave them for 24 hours. So that was really good. And then we did one about the armed forces. Oh my God, that was so great. We had people that were from the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and they all shared their experience. They also debunked myths about the armed forces. And so we're here today to talk about being prepared for the pandemic. We don't want people to be paranoid. We want you to have resources and be wise in the information that you have been receiving and the information that you've kind of deemed as factual. And so one more announcement, and then I'm going to jump in and bring in my guests, which I am so excited to have. I feel so honored to have them. But before I go there, I want to just make an announcement, and I would love for all of you to join us. Oh my God, everybody that's been following us, guess what? We're getting ready to celebrate our 3rd year anniversary. I cannot believe it's been 3 years. I guess I should say 2 years because we just took a whole year off when my mama passed. We didn't do nothing. But we're going to celebrate on December the 11th, Saturday. We want you to mark your calendars. Save the date. It's going to be our biggest giveaway to date. It's going to be an awesome time where we honor people who have been giving back in the community. Last year, we got an opportunity because of COVID. We weren't able to have a gathering, but what we did was we went to essential workers. We went to their offices and we gave gifts to police officers, school teachers, doctors, nurses. We did pastors who have been working during the pandemic. Just so many people, and they were so excited. It wasn't a huge gift, but the thought that somebody thought of them, they were just amazed that we were in the background looking at their work and honoring them, because we know it was not easy. We know it was not an easy feat. And so we did that, and we just are grateful that this year we'll be able to get together. So you'll be able to get more information about that. But please mark your calendars right now, December the 11th. We're going to have a great time. We're going to be able to share a lot of the things that we've done that maybe many of you are not aware of. And hopefully we'll gain some partners as we go into this new year. Okay, y'all, let's get started. So I'm hoping that everybody can hear us and everybody can see us. I am so excited. I was talking to one of my friends, and I said that I felt like there's so much misinformation that's out in our communities, in the media, definitely on social media. And so I wanted to take the opportunity to bring in people who do this for real, not just somebody that saw some type of clickbait and now they're telling everybody in the community what to do, or not just the conversations at the barber shop or at the beauty shop or at the picnics with our families where we come up with all of these different notions. I wanted to talk to people who have factual information. And I want to be very clear with this particular brunch bite. I am not trying to advise people to do anything. I just want you to have great information when you're making decisions. I want you to do your research. I want you to hear it from the people who do this on a day-to-day basis. They do it. I'll introduce them in a second, but I mean, during the pandemic, they probably had no days off, and they have been serving our community. And I'm going to get ready to bring them in because I'm excited. I am so excited. And so again, I'm asking everybody to share as I get ready to introduce. First, I'm going to start with, I know we got to be professional, but I think she's my sister. She's my baby mama. And she is just a resource of wealth when it comes to information and guiding us when it comes to health issues and things in our community. So would you applaud with me and welcome Shanita Lewis, who is the Director of Practice Operation at Howard Brown Health Center. Hey, Shanita, girl. You on mute.
Hey, Val. Hey, Val.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great. Welcome today. We are so excited to have you on here. I just want to, before we introduce our next guest, I just want you to take a quick minute and tell everybody about your job and what you do.
Sure. Thanks. Thanks for inviting me. So as Val said, I am the Director of Practice Operations for Howard Brown Health Center. We're one of the largest community health centers in the Midwest that focuses on eliminating disparities of healthcare in marginalized communities, which of course we know that's Black and Brown folks. And we have a total of 10 clinics across the city, as far south as 63rd, and hosted in the little red building for those of us who are true Chicagoans, and as far north as Devon and Clark in the Rogers Park neighborhood.
Okay, great. And then because of Shanita, I was able to really, I'm just so excited because I love when we have actual doctors and actual health practitioners that can come in and share and give us insight. So I want everybody to welcome with me Dr. Erica Taylor, who is joining us today. Hello, Dr. Taylor.
Good afternoon. How are you, Val?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Can you do me a favor? Same as I said to Shanita, would you introduce yourself again and then tell us what you do at Howard Brown?
Absolutely. So I'm Dr. Erica Taylor. I am the Medical Director of Preventive Medicine at Howard Brown Health. I am actually charged with working on helping to basically lower some of the disparities that we're experiencing within our agency and basically in the city as a whole in regards to chronic conditions that affect Black and brown people, such as diabetes, hypertension, and things of that nature, breast cancer, colon cancer, just really encouraging people to come in and get screening. It's also October, so make sure to get your breast examined and go in and get your mammogram if you haven't done it already, or sign up for it. And it should be something that we are looking at, not just in October, but the entire year, so 365. By trade, I was an OBGYN. I have a background in epidemiology, which is the study of disease and how it occurs in our society. And so I'm just happy to be here with you today.
I'm so happy to have you. I'm going to jump in, and as I mentioned to Shanita during our talk, I am I personally am not in any capacity. I am not an expert. I go with the information and I make the best decision after I've prayed about it. I'm not here to encourage anybody to do anything. However, I want to get rid of some of the myths or answer some of the myths in our community. And then I want you to express to us the best course that you found for the people in our communities. Shanita, I was mentioning to you the different myths that are out there, especially when it comes to us in our communities. Why do you think there's such a big issue with us trusting the information that is given to us from healthcare providers?
Because in a nutshell, the healthcare system has not always done a great job of taking care of Black and brown folks. And so we have a true paranoia. It's valid. We have a valid paranoia of the healthcare system, but it's important that we understand that we are slowly emerging in the healthcare system. Black and brown folks are going to school, becoming those medical professionals, so that people can look at folks that look like them when they need medical advice. And people are doing this so that we can better our communities, because we perish from lack of knowledge, and that's what hurts our community the most, is that we're not given the tools and the education and resources in order to make better decisions about our health.
Yeah. Dr. Taylor, you said something a moment ago about preventative care. Why is it that you think we shy away from preventative and we're so reactive with our healthcare?
I think some of it dates back to, you think about like our grandmothers, great grandmothers. I think a lot of times it's like we would whip up something, you make a tea, a tincture of this, a
ginger ale,
exactly. Ginger ale and saltines. Every household has that, right? If you have a stomach ache, it's for everything. You have a cold, the flu, break that out. And so really, I think it goes back to us like using like food as medicine. But I think that, some of that lack of trust, I think, for medical professionals also makes people very hesitant sometimes about seeking care. And it's just like, I think about, like, for instance, for example, my father, he had high blood pressure. Instead of him taking high blood pressure medication, oh no, I'm going to just drink this garlic, make some garlic water and drink that. And so really, we have medications that are out here that can help to prevent many things. So a lot of times I think it can be just as simple as us maybe, just the things that we put into our bodies can really make a difference in regards to, our healthcare, in regards to diabetes and high blood pressure. And so I think that we have to find that balance between natural medicines and then man-made medicines. And I think that, they're created for a reason. It's just an imbalance. Let's say if you have diabetes, it's an imbalance in your glucose level. And so sometimes you have to take a medicine, or sometimes it could just be very simple about losing like 5 or 10 pounds.
Ooh, help me.
Just, that weight loss sometimes can, tilt that scale back to the other side. So like you can get off of that, that medication for high blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. And that was definitely a push for most of us, that we need to just get the weight off. And I think that as we entered into the pandemic, I don't know about you guys, I was not prepared. I was not ready, and felt very paranoid when I got that. I think somebody forwarded me a text saying that stock up on all your groceries because the government's going to shut down in 2 weeks. And what? My first thought was, we went through this in 1999. I remember my godmother bought inflatable toilets. She bought all kinds of things. And so I felt like, oh God, are we getting ready to come to the end of the earth, or what's happening? So now that we're in it, we're a year and more into it, I think that there's so much valuable information out there, but I think most people are still stuck on that first notification we got about the pandemic. How can we help our people navigate from the paranoia into being prepared and making great healthcare decisions now that we have factual information from healthcare providers.
So just to piggyback on what Shanita said, like our people perish because of lack of knowledge. So again, I think it's important that we go out and we seek that knowledge and find trusted medical professionals. So find someone, if it takes finding somebody Black or brown that looks like
That's
you,
good.
like it's going to be someone that you can trust, and ask them to break it down to you. It's like, I love to like draw a picture. I break down the ingredients of what's in the COVID vaccine. So you think about Pfizer, it's salt, sugar, fat, and then the mRNA. And so I had posted some of that on social media back in the beginning because I was really trying to do a lot of education in the community and really just break it down, because I had to do a lot of education because this was something totally new for me as well. And so as a physician, I ended up attending various courses with some of the leading people who were involved in developing the vaccine. So I had to find information for myself before I made that decision to get vaccinated as well. And so again, I think it's just key that you educate yourself and you make a decision, whether it be yes or no, but you make that decision armed with proper information.
That's so good. It was so funny. I went to a comedy show, and the comedian was saying that he asked his friends, did they know that they were vaccinated when they were younger? And they said, no, I wasn't vaccinated. I just got shots. And so how can we help everyone when it comes to understanding the vaccine? Either one of you ladies can jump in. That with vaccines, vaccinations is not something new.
I think vaccines absolutely are not new. So you think about, in order to start kindergarten, you have to have these shots, not tequila, but shots, immunizations. And so we did all of that along the way. I even think back, I never had chickenpox. So I had to have the chickenpox vaccine when I started med school, because like, as an adult, if you get chickenpox, you can die. Yeah. And so I also had a reaction to it. So just like with any shot, just, people were like, oh, you're, with COVID, people are getting like flu-like symptoms. That's just a side effect of any immunization or any shot. You can have a fever, you can get chills, you have that pain in the arm where you can't lift it up. And that's when, your baby mama want to hit you on the arm, and you're like, okay, I had that shot today. And so really, this is something that we've done high school, grade school, college, and beyond. It's just something that we've had to do. If you work in the healthcare field, you had to get the hepatitis B series of 3 shots. If you travel anywhere, like I've traveled to Africa, I had to get a series of shots to go over there. And I had to show, they have a little yellow card. I had to show my little yellow card to show that I had been vaccinated with yellow fever. I had to take hepatitis A and just a series of shots. And then while I was there, take medication on a daily basis.
Yeah. And so let me ask this, for after you receive the vaccination, we still have to maintain a healthy diet, a healthy regimen of health and water drinking. We can't just rely on the shot. The vaccination as the end all that is all, right?
Absolutely. So what the vaccine is doing is creating an extra layer of protection. So hand washing, a minimum of 20 seconds. And so like if you have the Apple Watch, they now have this app where it actually times you. And it's like, if you don't go 20 seconds, it'll be like, you didn't do a good job. And so now it's like, okay, well, let me make sure. And it'll say, great job, you did 20 seconds. So that's the thing, making sure to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds. If you don't have access to soap and water, to utilize like a hand sanitizer until you can get to soap and water. And then to continue to wear your mask. So I know at one point they had stated, like, if you're vaccinated, you didn't have to wear the mask. And, things have kind of like just been changing. And we just have to be adaptable, because next week it could be something totally different.
That's great.
And so again, wearing the mask, and then also watching what you put into your body, I think is very important. Like, if you have a good immune system built up, your body's going to be more likely to be able to help fight off, along with the immunity that's being increased from the vaccine.
Oh, wow. So Shanita, you were mentioning about the different healthcare facilities that you guys have available. How do we find out about those medical facilities that are geared toward, that are set in the urban communities, geared toward minorities?
Thanks, Val. So you can visit our website, howardbrown.org. We have 3 clinics on the south side, like 63rd and Low at the Red Building, in Hyde Park, right on the corner of 55th and Lake Park in the Arts Deco building, and on 47th and Halsted, 47th and Emerald, we have a clinic where we're partnered with Thresholds Mental Health Social Service Agency, where we help where we partner with them to do primary care for their behavioral health clients. And you can go on the website and learn about everything we do. We have walk-in STI testing. Um, we do COVID vaccines on a daily basis. COVID testing happens at about 4 of our clinics on a daily basis. We have tons of different programs for folks. We have a sliding scale program for people who do not have insurance. If you need help understanding your insurance, we have insurance navigators that will help break it down to you for you to understand your benefits, help you get insurance. Open enrollment is coming up soon for Medicare, and for a lot of us who at work who have insurance. You have any questions, you want to make sure you're making the right options for you and your family with your insurance. We have people that can help you with that. So yeah, our website will give you access to all of those different things, howardbrown.org.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Taylor, I'm coming back to you with, how do I want to word this? I know that a lot of times we have to be careful with whether we want to push people, but with the vaccination plan that that the president laid out earlier this year, when people first started getting vaccinated, did we see the numbers kind of shift a little bit, or how do we explain to people what the vaccination is supposed to help do as far as the herd is considered?
Okay, let me see if I can break this down. So in regards to the herd or the herd immunity, so at one point they were stating like if 75% of individuals in the US were vaccinated or had the disease, then that would create like a herd immunity. And so now they're kind of backing down. They're not really stating the number. That's something they're saying like more information is needed, more research is needed to be done in that area. And so in regards to herd immunity, that's one of the reasons when we think back to, let's say, chickenpox. A lot of people had that as children. People used to have chickenpox parties where they would want their kids to basically get chickenpox. And I tried. I would rub all over my cousins. I just never, I was so sad. I wanted calamine lotion, all of that. But it just never happened for me. And so really that was like creating herd immunity. And so that's like how you think about like it's like, let your kid get dirty because you want them to have that natural, those germs so that they can start to get their immune systems up so that they can fight off different, infections. And so that's one of the things in regards to, that it's still, that's something that more research needs to be done in regards to what that number is. Okay. Currently here in the US, we have about 75% of individuals ages 12 and up that have had at least one dose of the COVID vaccine.
Okay.
In our Black and brown communities, those numbers are lower. And so that's one of the things that we've been talking about because the virus is actually affecting our communities more disproportionately than our white counterparts. And so that's one of the pushes in regards to, at least getting more education and getting more people vaccinated in the Black and brown community.
Okay. If I know that with my job and several of our jobs, we are considered essential and some even have to travel. So when it comes to traveling and, your standard going to work, I know you said keep your mask on, keep your distance, wash your hands. But as far as traveling is concerned, what would you suggest would be some of the things that we should really be on top of when we're traveling?
So definitely be sure, continue to wear your mask. I would say if you don't have to travel, I wouldn't. Or, if you can upgrade for that first class seat, so you're the first person on the plane and off, I would try to do that because they're back to full capacity on planes. That middle seat, you're packed in, so you don't know who you're going to be sitting next to. And that's the thing, is like you're inside of this vessel for 2, 3, or if you're going international, 12 hours or more. And so really, I think just making sure that if it's something that you really, really need to travel for, then I would say definitely do that. But just making sure that you're armed with a mask. If I was to travel, I would wear an N95. I've even done like a face shield just to kind of, or like some goggles, something protective. And then just really making sure like good hand washing. I've seen people on the plane with like they're wearing these full suits that you can get on Amazon. Like they're covered from like head to toe.
Oh, I need one.
So really, I just think you just have to err on the side of caution because I know we can't, live inside a bubble. People are starting to travel again, but I think just continue to take those precautions, like wiping down your tray table. They're giving you the wipes to like wipe things down. And even like in the hotels now, like they don't come in and do like service of the room on a daily basis, which I like completely. I'm on board with that. Just get some extra towels and we can just work the rest out in here. I bring I stop and get my cleaning supplies pre-COVID. So
right.
I think you just have to just be very careful.
Okay.
And then knowing who you're traveling with too, like are the people vaccinated? Are you going to be around someone who potentially has COVID? So really just looking at every person that you encounter as though they have the COVID virus. I think that's really what we have to do to keep ourselves safe.
Are we politically correct? I mean, this is to either one of you to ask people, are they vaccinated? Like if we're around them, I know that churches are opening up. Again, for those of us that are essential at work, is it a HIPAA violation to ask somebody that?
Maybe Shanita can answer this one.
So as far as HIPAA is concerned, it's only a violation if the healthcare institution releases your information. So if you were to come get vaccinated at Howard Brown and we just go out in the world and was like, Val got vaccinated.
Did
we would be violating Val's rights, her HIPAA rights.
Okay.
But if you are hosting something in your own home or planning to have an event and you want to have a safe event as much as possible and not be and not have what the city calls super spreader events, when people have parties and everyone gets together and then COVID happens at the party and someone tests positive and contact traces, then loop it back to your party. If you want to be responsible and not have that happen to you, you absolutely have every right to say, unless you to come in my party, you got to show me proof that you are vaccinated or you got a negative test, COVID test done in the last 3 days, 3 days prior to the party. I think that's the standard that most places are doing now. I know a lot of bars in the Lakeview neighborhood are doing this. I don't know about, on the south side so much, but I know downtown and on the north side, a lot of places are requiring you to show proof of that in order to get in. And I think it's just their way of being a part of the solution. Okay. And that's to stop the spread of COVID. And because it is killing a lot of us, and it's killing more of us who look like us than it is anything else. And we have to keep giving the education out there so that our people can understand how serious this virus is for us.
And so you mentioned super spreaders. Dr. Taylor, maybe they'll listen to you. So we're getting ready to come up on Thanksgiving, come up on Christmas. And we missed our families for the most part last year. So it's probably going to be very difficult to keep everybody from getting together. What would be some of the advice that you would give us to go into it as prepared as possible?
So pray for warm weather, because then maybe you could set up outside. but really, I mean, like Shanita said, I think making sure that people are vaccinated, and that it's not a fake vaccine card that has Moderna spelled wrong, but that they actually have a true vaccine, and that they get tested 3 days before. But then also just to even take it a step further, to even ask them about symptoms, because you'd be surprised that people will come around you and like, oh, I've been coughing, sneezing, have a headache, fever for 3 days. And I'm like, I'm coming to the party, just because they have the fear of missing out. And so really, I think even screening for that as well. We may have to go to another year of Zoom, or just keep your circle very, very small. If you have a certain pod of people that you may, like, I know this person is safe, like maybe I would keep it very small. It can't be the huge Thanksgivings of the past, I think, because we're just setting ourselves up. And then also you're compounding it, because we're also about to go into flu season as well.
Lord. Okay. So then my question would be now is, even if a person has been vaccinated, do you still suggest that they receive COVID testing when they're traveling, when they're around a big group of people that they're not normally around? Would you suggest that they still get tested?
I would say if they develop symptoms afterwards, that they should definitely get tested. So the recommendation is to typically do that within 3 to 5 days of the symptoms. Or let's say if you go to this Thanksgiving dinner and grandma comes back with COVID, and you all know that, and if you've been vaccinated, you should still get tested, because there is a chance, low risk, but there's still a chance that people can develop what we're calling this breakthrough COVID. And so it'd be important to get tested. And it's to let everybody know, not just to just you found out and you don't tell anybody else who was there. So just, just be a good steward by letting everyone know.
Okay. I feel like last month I've always September, August have dealt with really bad allergies. And this year when I got it, I'm telling you I got scared. I got scared. But how can we keep my whole premise today is I don't want people to be paranoid. I want them to really pay attention. So it's with allergy season, how do you determine whether it might be allergies or you may have COVID? What should we do in those instances?
So if you're someone that typically has allergies, let's say if you take Claritin, the symptoms get better. More than likely, it's just your allergies. I think that if you start to have other symptoms, though, like if you have a really high fever, if you have headache, body aches, and things like that, and it's just like it's not getting better with Claritin, then you may want to think about, getting tested for COVID. I think all of us are doing that. If we cough, sneeze, we hear anybody cough or sneeze, your neck turns so fast, you be like, and it's like you're afraid to sneeze and cough now. Like I was like trying to sneeze somewhere in somebody's house, and I was like, you can sneeze. I'm like, because I don't want to make them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so really, I think, we still. I mean, I don't think I've had a cold since this whole pandemic started. But every time I wake up in the morning, and I have like a little congestion. I do get nervous. Like, oh, do I have COVID?
Yeah.
And so I think really we have to kind of just like, but then I'll look like, do I have other symptoms? And then sometimes people can have these rare symptoms like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. So looking out for those things as well. So you're usually going to have a lot more symptoms. And then also just think about how are you living your life?
That's good.
Are you out here in these COVID streets wilding out? Or are you like, wearing your mask and washing your hands or, trace your steps?
Yeah. So I'm gonna open it up. I got a couple more questions, but I want those that are watching, if you have questions, please post them in the chat and we'll put them on the screen. I'm not gonna hold the doctor and Shanita forever, but I'm gonna try and pull as much information out of them as I possibly can. With mask wearing, I know I do this, and I surely hope you tell me I'm okay. I know that once I get out of a building, I'm ready to breathe. And so I may take it off and I get in that car and I'm just fancy free. How long should we keep our mask on once we're outdoors?
So right now, I think, now one of the things that they're saying is like, if you're fully vaccinated, that you can take the mask off outside. But if you think that if you're having symptoms and things like that, then you should keep it on.
Okay.
But if you're outside, it's pretty much safe to have the mask off. But you'll see people riding around the car by themselves with a mask. But I think it's like an extra arm now. It's like you just get accustomed to wearing it.
I'm not accustomed.
Okay.
It was so funny. I was at a concert and I was singing and I just felt the mask was going in my face, but I just wasn't going to take that mask off. No. I was going to keep it on. Okay. So if you're vaccinated, if you're outdoors and it's just you alone, you don't have to necessarily keep your mask on the entire time.
But if there's strangers walking by, like if I'm walking down the street, if somebody comes by, then I put it on, like, because I'm like, I don't know where they've been. I don't know anything about them. So again, I think if someone comes into your vicinity that you're not familiar with, you don't know their vaccine status, I would say just pop it on as a precaution.
Okay. I have a question here that I want to show. It says, with building your immune system, are gummy vitamins better than capsule, or are they all one and the same, in your opinion?
I would say the thing would be to compare the ingredients. And so pretty much if they have the same ingredients, it should be fine as far as like helping to build the immune system. I think a lot of times like we can build our immune system also by the foods that we put into our body. So making sure that you're eating a diet that's well balanced in regards to fruits and green vegetables and things of that nature, meats that are low in fat, trying to avoid fried food and things of that nature. I think everything in moderation is fine because we're from Chicago, so you got to get that 6-piece with mild sauce with lemon pepper.
Yes, lemon pepper.
Every blue moon. So I think, but definitely building the immune system, making sure that you're getting good sleep too, because I think people don't think about that. Like, how much sleep are you getting? Are you well rested? And so I'll find that, when I'm going on like running on fumes, I'm more likely to get sick if I'm sleeping 3-4 hours a night versus like if I'm getting really well rested. So that's other things to take into account as well.
Shanita, I know that you guys had pop-up COVID testing and pop-up vaccination in different places. Does Howard Brown choose those places, or do organizations reach out to you guys and ask you to come?
It's a mixture of both. We have community organizations that reach out to us all the time, wanting us to come out to the community, and then with us being an FQHC community health center, we also partner with the Chicago Department of Public Health a lot to go out into communities and give resources and things to the community. So it's a mixture of both. If anyone, we also have a page on the website where people can submit a request to partner with us for various different outreach things, vaccines, testing, um, other health initiatives, and things like that.
And so you welcome people. So if there's any organizations on here and you want to bring them out, you guys welcome those types of requests.
Absolutely, because we believe that in the way to the community is to work with those who live in the community. We don't want to the goal is to show respect to communities and let them know that we're here to service you and not come and like um not force ourselves to you. um our idea, we want to bring the service to the community, because sometimes the community can't always come to where our brick and mortar buildings are at, and so we recognize that, and so we switch it up. We like, okay, they can't get to the building, let's get in this van and go to them. And so we go and we set up and we bring it right there to you, so then you can walk around the corner from your home and come and get whatever it is that you need done.
Okay. Um, um, what was my next question was going to be, um, who are at this juncture, who are I know you're saying our community, but who are most targeted with the virus right now? I know at one point we were highly concerned about the seniors, and we said that the children were fine, and now we're starting to see that children are starting to get the virus. So who should we point in on, or do we just, as a collective, work on trying to get everybody to a place where they're as healthy as possible?
That's definitely where we need to get, where everybody is as healthy as possible, because we're definitely all at risk. People that have underlying medical conditions are going to be the ones who are most likely to be affected. And so that's one of the reasons why Black and Brown communities were disproportionately affected, because many of us have those conditions, like the triple three: diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And so when you couple that with sometimes with obesity, or sometimes living in households where you have like multiple generations living together, you're more prone to be affected by COVID. One of the things that's been trending this past week, though, is pregnant moms. And so really there's a big push for pregnant moms to get vaccinated, because if they get the COVID virus, they're about 70% times more likely to be hospitalized compared to a non-pregnant woman. And so in the month of August, there was an increase in the number of deaths. There's been a total of 160 deaths in pregnancy since the pandemic started. And so really that's one of the big pushes now, because they're more likely to end up in the ICU, have a preterm baby and things like that, or need a ventilator. And so again, and when you're pregnant, your immune system is compromised. And so anyone that has like an immune compromise, those are going to be people who are going to be more likely to be affected by this virus as well. So people with HIV, people living with like liver transplants and things like that. So it's just super important to kind of get those people protected.
Okay. I have a two-part question. The first one is, what is the length of time to be near a person that is tested positive that will warrant you to quarantine?
So currently, what CDC is recommending is at 15 minutes. And so if you're there 15 minutes face to face, and that's, if they're not wearing a mask. And so really you want to get basically, you also want to get tested. If you develop symptoms, you want to get tested 3 to 5 days after. Even if they're positive, you still want to get tested 3 to 5 days after that exposure, just to be sure. Because the thing about it is that we have a lot of people out here that have COVID and they have no symptoms. Yeah. And so it's like they're spreading it, and it's like people just have no idea. So that's the reason why you have to basically, everyone that you encounter, consider that they could potentially have COVID. So really just protect yourself by masking up. Even the thought was to double mask if you're inside.
Okay. I have a part two to that question. It says also, is it safe to return to work if you tested negative and you're fully vaccinated, but a family member tested positive?
So if you're negative, it would be important if that family member is isolated. So that person needs to be like in their own room. You know, you're taking food to them. They have their own bathroom. So if there's like, if you're not having any contact with that person, then I would recommend that that person could return to work if they're negative. But if they're in contact, where let's say there's a household with only one bathroom, that person is coming into the kitchen cooking, like it would be safe for them to wait until that person that has no more symptoms and they have basically shown that they've cleared that virus.
Okay. Shanita, back to one of the myths, and then I'm going to ask both of you ladies to give us closing words, to share your heart with everyone. Of course, anytime we talk about vaccinations in our community, the first thing that everybody goes to is the Tuskegee experiment. That's paramount. That's our story. And so I want you to kind of give some insight on how that differs from what we are facing right now with the pandemic.
So the difference between what's happening now and what the horrible thing that happened to those men in that what they call the research project was, we're trying to save lives right now, and we are sharing all information with you about that. Those men were blatantly lied to about the mission and the purpose of that Tuskegee project and what the effects of it will have on them. It's important to know that while COVID is very new to us, it is not new to the research world. Um,
Oh,
they
you
have
need to say that again. Slow it down, back it up. Because people think y'all. I think people
Mhm.
think that the specialists and the doctors went in the back room like some witches and
Yeah,
conjured up a spell. But say it again, please.
they really do. COVID is new to us regular degular folks, but to the research world, the coronavirus, COVID-19, is not new to them. This is a virus that they have been working in the background for years on, making sure that it didn't get to this point. And we are here, and they have the research and the knowledge and the tools and resources um, to get everyone healthy again. And so I want everybody to understand that it's not. Look, thank you. Somebody put it in the chat. It's not new to the research world. This is real work that folks who look like us have been working on for years. I need y'all to understand that the top researcher on the Moderna vaccine is a Black woman. Like, we are out here doing the work for our community, to save our community and make sure that we get all that we need, and we're getting the knowledge and the information, the resources we need folks to open their hearts and ears and listen and take heed to what's being given to them.
That was good. Thank you, Shanita. Thank you. So I think that for me, I wanted to take this moment and bring this up. We call it brunch bites because I know we can't give them everything, but I would like for you ladies to share um, why you feel it is important for us to be vaccinated, or what you find in your career and in the science and everything, why it's important. And at what age are we at right now, as far as how young can anyone be vaccinated?
Currently it's 12, but pretty soon it's going to be rolling out for younger kids here. But right now, 12 and up. And then right now, we're actually talking about the booster. So the third shot for individuals that are immunocompromised, high risk, who are pregnant, who work in high risk situations, so healthcare institutions and things of that nature.
Thank you.
You're
What,
welcome.
Shanita, what would your heart say to those who are still on the fence about whether to get? So, the one thing before you answer this, I love that you said that nobody should be off the hook, right? So, if they don't have the vaccination, they better come with a good COVID clean test.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, we don't. Absolutely. So we everybody wants to see their family. They miss their family. having to quarantine and be away from people. It's hard. We're going into year 2 of having to be careful about who you let in your house and who you be around and everything. And I know folks are tired of it. You don't want to have to do that, but the reality is that right now we have to. And I would say to folks to think about everyone else around you. So one of my biggest reasons for getting vaccinated, because I am vaccinated, was that I am asthmatic, but also my 70-something-year-old parents caught COVID, and my dad was in the hospital, in on a ventilator, and he has congestive heart failure and diabetes and high blood pressure. And me working in the healthcare field, I was terrified. I was terrified. But he's an old tough steel cookie.
Yes,
Keep
tell them I
licking
want
and
my
keep on ticking.
cucumbers. Tell them I want my cucumbers.
And and my mother is a praying woman, and just as a family, he got out of it. And I like to say, we joke that he scared COVID out of him, because he was only on that ventilator for 2 days, and that's not the norm for a 70-year-old Black man with congestive heart failure, diabetes, high blood pressure, to have even made it out of that situation. And so it just strengthened me. And I had not even seen my parent. I hadn't even seen them for like 7 months. And then they get COVID, and I was like, I can't even go to the hospital to see neither one of them. Like, I couldn't go see my mom. I couldn't go make sure she was all straight. Okay, so it was very frustrating. And all I kept thinking about is that I want to go see my parents, and the only way I can go see them is if I'm vaccinated. So I want people to think about Big Mama and that favorite auntie, and your Paw and all of them, and think about how you're not just getting vaccinated for yourself, but you're getting vaccinated for your loved ones. And if you are someone that do not want to get vaccinated, that is totally your choice and your prerogative. But be safe.
Yeah.
Be responsible. Don't go party in the streets and then go over Big Mama house on Sunday because she cooking. Like, don't come bring yourself. Don't do that to her. You've been out in the street, in these COVID streets, as Dr. Taylor just said, and then you go to Big Mama house on Sunday, or you go to that favorite auntie house because she cooking, and then you expose them to COVID, and they got diabetes and high blood pressure and all these other things, and now you're exposing them and getting them sick. And so I just ask everybody to be safe and be responsible and do what's best for you and the household of folks that you truly care about.
That was really good. Dr. Taylor, you mentioned this, and I saw a visual when you talked about the effects of any vaccination, and I can recall babies after receiving vaccinations having fevers and being very sore, but then after a couple of days they are okay. So, can you speak to us and not allowing people who have said they had side effects, not put fear in the rest of us to stop pursuing receiving the vaccination?
No, absolutely. So those side effects are very, very common. So it's not uncommon to have the headache. The sore arm is very common. And then I can attest to the fact, after I had the second dose, I was down for 2 days. I had fever, body aches. I took some Tylenol, Motrin, and just drank fluids, and I was back to good after 2 days. And so, they say that when you have that effect, that's just showing that your immune system works well. And so if you're getting that effect, it's okay. And so that should not be a reason to deter you from getting it. Because the thing about it, you think about if you actually get the COVID virus, how we have some of these people who are what we call lone haulers, who've been dealing with the side effects of the virus for sometimes 6 months, a year, where they have these side effects that they brain fog, where they can't remember anything. There's people who are needing dialysis. There was a young man recently I was reading about who had a heart transplant at 31.
Jesus.
Developed shortness of breath after having COVID. He went home short of breath, and he was lucky enough to get a heart transplant within that month, because that doesn't happen, especially in Black and brown communities, that quickly. So that's a blessing. So now he's going through cardiac rehab after being diagnosed with COVID. And so, for me, and I definitely had to do the research. At that time, I had 500,000 reasons. And that was because there were 500,000 lives that had been lost due to COVID. Mm. Right now, we're close to 700,000 deaths. And so,
in America or worldwide?
In the U.S. 696,000 deaths plus. And so really, like Shanita said, if you don't want to do it for you, do it for your mom, do it for your grandma, do it for your family, do it for your kids who are coming behind you. Because now we're starting to have kids that are being affected in the classrooms. And you think about the kids that can't be vaccinated because they're too young, but it's like they're still getting up and going to school on a daily basis. And so really just trying to give that extra layer of protection for your family. So again, make that decision armed with good information. So, there's a lot of things out there on social media. People are thinking that, you're activating the 5G towers and all this if you get the vaccine. That hasn't happened. I mean, I think one of my phones is still 4G and it hasn't upgraded on its own. It's no magnetic chip in you. I mean, I tried it this morning. I was like, let me put this quarter on me and see if it fell off.
Yeah.
And so really, I mean, go out and get the good information because there's a lot of bad information out there.
Yeah. I have one more question and then I'm going to close us out. The question is, how often would you have to be given the booster shot, or is it a one time at this juncture?
Right. So currently they're saying if you are 6 months out, at least 6 months out, and you meet the criteria for someone who's considered high risk, then you would be qualified for the booster. The initial talks in regards to the initial vaccines, they were thinking it would probably work for maybe about 9 to 12 months. Again, that information is still unfolding. I think we get to learn a little bit more about it, as we go on. But right now, if they're saying 6 months, I think this is going to eventually, and this is just my thought, this is not the thought of my organization or anything else. This is my personal thought. I think it's going to end up being like a vaccine like the flu shot, where it's going to be an annual vaccination. That's where I think it's going. I'm actually going to have the opportunity to sit down with one of the people that sat on the FDA board in regards to this immunization on October 15th, sit down and kind of listen to some of the updates. He was one of the people that I had a chance to do a webinar with at the beginning, which really kind of just convinced me one of the reasons that helped to convince me to move forward with getting vaccinated as well.
Okay. I keep lying and saying I'm going to let you go, but as you're talking, more things come. So I am going to say this. When you talked about the type of mask, I know that we like to get creative with our masks and be cute and all of those types of things. But you mentioned the N95 when you're traveling. Is there some specifications to masks that you would suggest that we purchase and not? I know we're trying to be glamorous, and it's hard to be glamorous sometimes with that blue.
I know. Go ahead. You want to get a medical grade mask. And so if you want to, you can do that and you can put your pretty mask on top of it.
Okay.
And that's really like if you're out and exposed, it's probably good to have that anyway, where you don't have that exposure to like the environment, the elements, and all people breathing on you. And so for me, like if I'm traveling, like if I'm in the hospital and things like that, we'll wear the N95, especially if you're coming into contact like face to face with a patient who's potentially has the virus, or face shield too. So that's just an extra layer of protection.
So the mask with the face shield should really give you a lot of protection, is what you're saying.
Right, because you really want to be able to protect your eyes too. Ooh. And so like you have to get the pretty goggles or something like that. Or if you wear glasses, you want to have something that actually is covering the entire eye.
We're in trouble. So that means we're going to have to get together. We're going to have to create a glass that people can wear so it doesn't fog up with the mask. That's what we're going to have to do.
Exactly. And it needs a straw in it and some way you can eat underneath it too. Like drop some chips in it.
Because I'm telling you, even in restaurants, sometimes I feel so paranoid because it's like you got to take off your mask to eat. But I truly thank you both. I think that you have provided a wealth of information. And the thing that I love that you said, that it is everybody's choice to do what they want to do, but it's no one's choice to be reckless. No one has the right to be reckless during this time. And so vaccinated or not, you are not granted access from anybody, from God above. You're not granted the right to be reckless. So I think that when we talk about this paranoid and being prepared and not paranoid, I think you ladies have done an amazing job. And I so appreciate your time and your effort. If you can give us, if people have more questions, Shanita, where can they get more questions? How can they find out where your sites are? If they listen, Dr. Taylor, you may get some new patients out of this. A relatable doctor, yes.
Come on, come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
they can go to the website howardbrown.org. And on the website, we have a whole page dedicated to COVID. And then there's a phone number there, our COVID hotline. If more questions about COVID come up, you can call our COVID hotline. And
And you said that's howardbrown.org?
yep.
Okay. I'm putting it in the chat right now.
Okay. Yep. And we have our COVID hotline. You have more COVID questions come up, you can call. If it's on the weekends, of course, you'll be leaving a message and someone will be calling you back. But during the week, it's answered live. If you have COVID questions, or if you want to make an appointment with us, you can also call our main number, which is also on the website, and schedule and make an appointment.
I know that we have some people that are not from Illinois on. Do you guys have peers in different regions that if they contacted Howard Brown, that you would be able to send them to?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
great. I'm glad to hear that. All right. Well, did you want to have any closing words before we end this brunch bite?
Just thank you again for inviting myself and Dr. Taylor on. This was great. I hope everybody found this very useful to make the informed decisions for you and your family and your loved ones.
Thank you, Shanita.
Thank you.
I would say the same. Thank you again. Wash your hands 20 seconds, mask up, consider the vaccine, and protect your grandma.
Oh, that's so good. Listen, I thank you all so much for joining us. If you're watching this live, make sure you share, make sure you tell someone about it. Our job and our goal is to make sure that we get the right information out there to our community and to everyone, so that if you make a decision, it is not because it's because of lack of knowledge, Shanita. It is because we've given you the knowledge, you've made the decision. So next month, we're coming back, and guys, we're going to talk about grief, because I think that one of the biggest things with COVID is just the massive amount of grief that we're all experiencing from the loss of loved ones, from, I don't even know how to grieve sometimes with just friends, because you don't want to weight them down with your grief, but we love people. And so we want to talk through some just how to grieve properly and how to grieve healthy. That's what we're going to talk about next month. So ladies, I thank you so much. Again, I appreciate your knowledge. Thank you for your time on a Saturday, for y'all to get beautiful and cute to come on here and talk with us and our listeners. We've got people from Alabama watching. People are saying that this is amazing. Thank you for the brunch bite. Thank you. This is great information. And so I want to do more of this, and hopefully we can impact some that are listening. I know we may not impact all, but if anything else sticks, if somebody want to type this, we are not to be reckless. We are to be safe in everything. And being safe doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be paranoid. So everybody, have a tremendous rest of your week. Enjoy October to the fullest. Enjoy it, but do it in a safe manner. Be wise. As the doctor mentioned, and this is to all of us, seek out preventative care, not just due to COVID, but with our health. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We want to get tested. We want to make sure that we know. We do not want fear to stop us from going in. If we know, then we can spend time trying to find a way to gang up on it, if we know in advance. But being reactive, those days I think are behind us. We need to be as on the forefront as we possibly can. So I'm Valerie Houston. We are SOAR again. If you appreciate the work that we do, please don't hesitate to, we are nonprofit. So all of our funds come from donations and from sponsorships. So if we're interested in the work that we do, you appreciate what we do, please go to our website, SOARAGAINNFP.com, and do that on today. And so again, thank you ladies so much. Everybody have a great weekend. Make sure you go to our page, SOAR Again, and share. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Okay. Thank you. Take care. Have a good one.
Bye.